Hi guys, to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to teach you how to make another delicious meal that's going to be ready in an hour, a little bit under an hour, and it's perfect for a busy weeknight, to feed your family, or to serve at a dinner party. We're going to be making a Mediterranean style chicken and spinach stew that I'm going to serve with a Mediterranean rice pilaf that's going to be made in the rice cooker, which I love to use. And we're going to serve it with a cucumber salad. I was going to originally serve this with a cucumber, yogurt, and mint salad, but we had an ice storm in Houston this past week, and the grocery stores are pretty empty. You can hardly find fresh herbs or anything like that. So we're improvising, and instead of the yogurt and cucumber, we're going to make a cucumber salad with some vinegar and dill. Very simple, very delicious, and refreshing. I was also going to make a dessert with this, with puff pastry, but there was no puff pastry, so we're not making dessert today. But I have so many quick and easy desserts that if you want to serve alongside of this, I'll link them down in the description box as well as in the blog post. Let's get started. So we're going to get started with a large onion that I'm going to roughly chop. Then I have 6 garlic cloves. I'm just going to grate them and keep them ready to go. You can definitely add more garlic cloves if you want. I mean, garlic is something that the more is in a recipe, the better. So you could even go up to 8 garlic cloves. That would be pretty delicious. Go ahead and add the onions with about 1/4 cup of olive oil to the pot that's heating over medium heat. And also put a little pinch of salt in there. Now, olive oil is another thing that I never measure, so 1/4 cup is the minimum, but you can definitely put more, like up to 1/3 of a cup. That would do. Cook the onions and the olive oil over medium heat until they're nice and soft and golden. That's going to take about 8 minutes or so. I'm going to tidy up in the meanwhile. Next, go ahead and add the garlic and just warm it through for a few seconds. Now I'm going to add a chicken that's been cut up into just portions. This is a whole chicken, but you can definitely use skinless leg quarters. That would work too. I'm going to add some salt, crushed red pepper flakes, which are optional, some black pepper, a teaspoon of sweet paprika. This is not the smoky paprika. Smoky paprika I don't recommend because it is going to add smokiness to the meal. If you like that flavor in your stews, that's fine. You can go ahead and add it. I'm not a huge fan, so I like the sweet paprika better, which really doesn't have much flavor. It just adds beautiful color. And then I have a can of diced tomatoes. I would normally puree them, but I'm in a hurry, so I'm just going to leave them whole. They'll cook down and just be fine. Give everything a nice mix. Now I'm going to put the lid on this, and I'm going to let this cook over medium-high heat, keeping a very close eye on it so that way it doesn't burn. I'm going to go in and mix it often. The thing is, the chicken is going to release lots of juices, but again, every cooktop is different. So if it starts to stick and the chicken isn't cooked yet, you can go in and add about 1/2 cup of water or so. I've never had to do it, but do keep an eye on it because you don't want it to burn. You're going to let this cook for about 45 minutes or until the chicken is fully cooked. It can take all the way up to an hour, and I'll show you what it looks like right when we reach that step. Then we're just going to add the spinach in pretty much and a few other ingredients, and it's going to be ready. So while the chicken stew is cooking, we're going to make the rice, and my favorite way to make rice, I don't make it any other way anymore. I use my rice cooker. By the way, this is not sponsored. This is just a rice cooker that I love and I use every time I make rice. I think I've said that enough times. So what I did was, first of all, I put it on the flash setting, and I put 4 tablespoons of butter, which is 1/2 a stick. I like to use salted butter. You can use unsalted butter. You can even use olive oil if you prefer. I'm going to wait for the butter to melt. And once the butter melts, I'm going to add a cup of chopped vermicelli pasta, which is also known in the supermarket. It's sold as fideo. In Greek, it's fide. So if you don't have the vermicelli pasta, you can use orzo, or you can leave it gluten-free and just leave the pasta out, make it with straight rice. Those are your options. Now, while the butter is melting, I've soaked 3 cups of basmati rice. That is a lot of rice because we like to have leftovers so the family can take it with them to lunch or just have leftovers for the next day. What I did is I put 3 cups of rice in this big mixing bowl and I rinsed it about 4 times with cool water until the water ran clear. And then you want to let it sit in the cool water and soak for about 15 minutes. I like basmati rice because it's very light and it cooks up quickly, but you can use whatever your favorite rice is. Just follow the package instructions because they cook differently. So the butter is pretty much melted. I'm going to add the pasta and I'm going to let this cook for about, 6 or 7 minutes until it's nice and toasted and golden brown. You might have to turn the machine off and turn it back on and press the flash rice 1 or 2 times just so that way you could have that very high heat setting. Okay, so it does need to get a little more toasted. I would get it a little more golden than this if you could, but since I have the patience of a 5-year-old, I'm just gonna stop right here and I'm gonna add my rice, which I've drained the excess water out of, 3 teaspoons of salt, this is chicken broth. I'm just gonna rinse out the same bowl that had the rice in it so we don't lose any. Now, of course, you can use vegetable broth or water and some fresh lemon juice, about 1/4 cup or more if you like it very lemony like we do. Give everything a nice mix. Then you're going to turn the machine off and put it on the white rice setting. Leave it alone until you hear the beeping sound. Once you hear that beeping sound, go in and fluff the rice up, set it aside, and it's going to be ready. Okay, so we have about 15-20 minutes before the chicken stew and the rice are gonna be ready. The only thing left to do is to make the cucumber salad. So I have an English cucumber here. I'm gonna peel the skin. And then I'm just going to thinly slice it. Okay, so place the cucumbers in the bowl. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top. Some vinegar. Sprinkle with lots of salt. And I have dried dill, but you can use mint if you wanted to, or oregano. But dill or mint would probably be my top 2. Mix it all up. Now, of course, you can add some tomatoes in here if you want. You could add some thinly sliced red onions. That would be nice too. But I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm actually going to look in my fridge to see if I have another cucumber because this does not look like it's going to be enough. And if I do, I'm just going to slice some more in here and just season it with a little bit of salt. And that's it. The cucumber salad is super simple and easy to make. That's ready. So I'm just going to tidy up, clean up a little bit here until the stew and the rice are ready. Then we're going to move on to the next step. So it's been 40 minutes and the chicken is definitely fully cooked. The sauce has thickened and it's just looking really good. The tomatoes have melted and the onions are really nice and soft. Now I have a pound of baby spinach leaves. I haven't chopped them or anything. They're just washed and dried. I'm just going to add them straight into the pot with the chicken. It looks like a lot of spinach, but spinach wilts down to almost 1/4 of its uncooked volume. And you could add it in 2 or 3 batches. Once one batch wilts, you could go in and add the rest. Now you guys might have questions about substituting frozen spinach for the fresh spinach, and you can definitely do that. But before adding it straight into the pot, either drain it in a colander so all the excess water can drain away, or saute it a little bit in a pan so the water can evaporate that way, whichever way is easier for you. And instead of mixing it away and breaking up the chicken, I'm just gonna cover the pot and give it about 2 or 3 minutes so that way the spinach can wilt down. It's gonna release some of its juices. The only thing left to do once that's done is to taste it to see if it needs a little bit more seasoning, which I'm gonna do once the spinach wilts down. It's looking very good. Now it's time to give it a taste to see the seasoning, if it's good or not. Perfect, doesn't need any more salt or anything. The meal is ready. Now I'm gonna check on the rice, that should be done too. Fluff it up and then we're gonna put it all together. The whole meal is ready and the house smells incredible. I'm so hungry and cannot wait to take a bite. But before I do, let me tell you something about the rice cooker. You can definitely make the rice early in the morning. Say you have to go to work or you have some things to do and you don't want to cook both of these things at the same time. You can make the rice ahead of time. Just keep in mind that it is going to keep it warm all day long. And as it keeps it warm, it dries it out a little bit. So right before serving, about 15-20 minutes before you serve it, you can pour about half a cup of chicken broth in there or some water, and then turn the setting on flash rice so that way it can warm it up really well, or just leave it at warm. That's fine, it'll absorb it. Fluff it up, and then there'll be enough moisture in there so the rice can taste really nice and soft and moist, basically. It is time to take a bite. Meals like this are so comforting. The chicken is juicy and fully cooked. The spinach melts in your mouth. The sauce is so perfect, actually. It's not too spicy. It's just perfect. It's delicious. And let me get a little cucumber too, because cucumbers are so nice and refreshing. Delicious. The vinegar and the dill go so well together. I hope you guys give this a try and make this for your family. If you do, let me know what you think in the comment section down below and share some pictures with me on Facebook and Instagram. I love seeing your recreations. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.